last 30 years, I've been doing community development. The only problem was when I started, I had no idea what community development was about. And I found out fairly quickly that community development at that time, this was in the 90s, probably still true today, in the traditional sense, had been co-opted by the federal government. They had money. And when they gave people money to do community development, they told you what to do. And so for the first 12 years I was doing this community development work, I did all of the things that they wanted done. We built a preschool from scratch. We rebuilt a park that had been abandoned for 8 years. We got new water lines put in. We got the city to come and install an entire stormwater system. Had no stormwater system. And we had some sidewalks paved and things like that. And on top of all that, we had torn down and built new or gut rehabbed a few, totaling over half of all the houses in the neighborhood. At the end of those 12 years, when I asked anybody what had changed, the answer almost always was nothing. We still got drugs and prostitution and crime and all this going on. It's the same place. I'm not safe here. I said, oh my gosh, I must be doing something wrong. And it was during that period that a woman from our church across town brought a book to me. She had just come from a conference up in West Virginia and said, this might be useful for you. I got this at the conference and thought you might be interested in it. This was Jack Pransky's book reporting on the work that Roger Mills had done in Modelo in Homestead, Florida. In 3 years in Modelo, they created all of this change. And it was change within people. When I finished the book, I said, oh my, I've got to find this guy. How can I learn more about this? And he says, well, come next year to our summer training program. And I did. And at that training, I met folks from Des Moines, Iowa, and was convinced that I needed to go there. And so I took a crew all the way up to Des Moines the next year. And Roger and his daughter, who had started the Center for Sustainable Change, had been able to obtain a grant from the Kellogg Foundation. And when they got that grant, they got it for funding work they wanted to still do in Des Moines, but they added, not Charlotte, but they added Lakewood, just the neighborhood where I was working. And a year later, they added Greenville, Mississippi. So there were three spots on the grant. And slowly, over the next year and a half, I began to learn what community development was. And as I began to truly learn that community was about the connection that people make with others, either one-on-one or small group or larger groups. It makes no difference. The connection is the key to community development. We worked under that grant for about 4 years, and for the first time, when you spoke with folks on the street, you would get a different answer. They would say, well, things really have changed. And the ways they changed were about, they knew their neighbors now. And they met them on the streets and at some of our meetings, and they found out that they were all human beings who could trust and love each other. And it was when that happened that I realized what I was supposed to be doing, which was community development. Amazed, I guess, is the best word that I could share at the impact of building true community. And that's what has been my motivator and driver for wanting to create a place where people who've never had the opportunity to sit with Roger Mills or Amy or any of the others who taught us about this understanding of the basic principles of life, where anyone could come and feel safe, but primarily to feel a connection. To feel a connection with something they're interested in, whether it's, sports or videography or anything. There would be someone there who understands what your interest is and can listen. And there was the possibility of forming small groups of interest. But as you're doing that, and as those communities are formed in a very safe and comfortable environment, which is attractive to people, within that, the buddy who is sort of helping this process and being there for people as they come in, that person can point in the direction of your own wisdom, your own connection, not just with yourself, but with others. It's when we take the message, if you will, to its fuller conclusion, that's when you build community. Through finding the common unity among people and building the opportunities for people to know, respect, listen, and work together with others. So my work has been to try to work with others and find ways that we can connect with folks, to create a space initially on the internet that is safe, but inviting and attractive, and that feels really good when someone comes. I think if there's one underlying message to what Sid Banks was trying to tell us about, it would be connecting with the feeling. That when we as individuals stop and allow our wisdom to come through, we will hear what is best, but beyond that, it's what really feels right. And when we experience that feeling, it can be our guide for what's next. When we begin to respect, see each other as equals, and listen deeply to each other, we can bypass any divisions, any thoughts of negativity, any assumptions we might be making about who that person is. We can only do that if we listen, if we truly listen without our thoughts and our judgments and everything else coming in. And so we're creating this space, and we've given it a name. We have to label things in this world of form, but we've given it a name that we hope is appropriate for the goals that we have. And that is feel the vibe. When you come to this site, you will have an opportunity to connect, to be heard, to be cared for, and to feel the vibe. To feel the vibrations of connection and love that is what humans are about. We are not solitary creatures. And our site, we hope, will open that opportunity to folks. That's what I do.